What's up? How are y'all doing? Hey Nathan. Hoping y'all can hear me. Let's see. Yes, you can. Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It has been a moment since I have done a Sunday live stream. But we're here, we're back. I hope y'all are doing well. It is a long weekend here in Alberta, Canada. So my apologies if my TV upstairs is very loud because my mom and my grandmother are watching a movie. But yeah, hey everybody, we are live streaming today and we are recapping the show just like the good old days, which wasn't that long ago, but it feels like forever since I've done a Sunday live stream. But yeah, I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine has been alright. It was busy at work all week, and I work tomorrow, even though it's a long weekend here. But alas, I feel like I had a productive Sunday today, so I am not complaining. I worked on some projects that I've been wanting to get up and running, which I will be literally this week, so I'm excited. But yeah, I've got all my notes ready here. We are recapping the whole week, and we'll talk about some behind the scenes stuff too that's happening as well. I am pretty stoked though. Hey Kaiwan. It's okay, it's a quiet evening so far because I haven't done this in so long that I think people forgot. But it's alright, because they can watch it after. But yeah, what's up everybody? Welcome to General Hospital NV, my GH after show. We can jump right into it. I'm pretty stoked today. It's obviously we're in like week 2 of the new temporary writing team that we have. And I won't lie, it's like a little slow. But there's always that transitional phase, you know, and there's been some good parts and some bad parts with the new writing team. And we're going to talk about it all today. So don't worry there. You were going to watch Titanic with your friends, but you said it's Sunday? Oh man, I mean that's a long ass movie to watch no matter what day of the week it is. But it's a good movie. Hey Edmund. I'm glad you caught it as well. Yeah, no, I haven't. What the hell is Ava doing? Oh, you know, I saved that for last in my notes, you know, Angel. But we'll talk about it. We will talk about it. Man. She gonna get herself and Sunny in trouble, though. That is for damn sure. Alright, well, so far we got 10 of you in here, so I'd say let's just start talking about things, yeah? If you guys are ready, then I am ready to go as well. Because man, I don't even... There's a lot of scrolling through my notes here, so there's... As little as like I said, it felt like nothing really big happened, but still a lot happened. So there's lots to talk about. Alright, we're going to get into it. So let's kick things off by talking about Cyrus Renault and the bizarre turn of events that unfolded with him this week. This week, Cyrus got attacked by an inmate for reasons still yet to be known, and Drew walked in on it, but before Drew could really get a hold of the situation, Cyrus actually took a heart attack, which is kind of justice for causing Sasha to have a heart attack a few years ago, maybe? Man, I almost forgot about that, but that was like 3 years ago. I remember it happened like just on the verge of the pandemic starting, and then And then we had like that layover of like no shows. And I remember like making a post being like, man, Sasha's probably so high right now. Oh man. But yeah, so basically Drew had to beg the guards to let him try to revive Cyrus, since he has military training for it, seemingly the only thing Drew remembers about his past life. During this time, we see Cyrus take a trip to purgatory, which to him looks like a prison cell in a white room with red light shining at the bottom of it, where his own manifestation of his sister Laura talks about her doubts that he is a changed man, and Cyrus spends his time trying to convince her that he is a changed man, and in the end, she actually does believe him. The manifestation of Laura, real Laura is, well, now she's in Greece. We'll talk about that later too. So she's not there to see what has gone down with Cyrus, but Martin, I believe, did keep her up to speed on it. Do y'all believe he's a changed man? Because I don't know if I do. The writing for him so like back and forth. So it's, I don't know, it's a little bit confusing. I don't know where they're going with him. I really don't. As for Drew, despite, saving Cyrus, he ended up in solitary confinement due to knocking the guy who gave Cyrus a heart attack out. Thought Cyrus is in hell, not purgatory. I seen it as purgatory, like on his way to hell. Like not quite there, but potentially coming back. But you could be right too. That was just my own interpretation. But yeah, anyway, when obviously Cyrus wakes up when Drew revives him, but he still has to be taken to the hospital to get checked out. In the next episode, we get to see him get a visit from Martin, because he was informed it was a matter of life and death. Turns out Cyrus wants Martin to have complete control of all his money and to use all that money to invest in a rehabilitation program for prisoners in Pentonville, so that they can get their lives back on track for when they do get to leave the prison. What are y'all saying? Kaiwan, you said, I think he's a changed man. Another thing that he's sick. He just wants to get close. And Laura. Yeah, he probably does want to get close to Laura. I feel like he hates that he's not close with his family. Where was I? Oh yeah, so here's my thing. The whole time that he was talking to Martin, he basically laid on the religious act that he does real thick, with like a hint of shade the entire time, which is a super strange way to play it if we are supposed to believe that his quick trip to purgatory or hell, wherever you want to call it, was actually supposed to be this eye-opening, life-changing moment for him. But he seems to be exactly the same person he was before his heart attack. So I can't help but think that he's got some other kind of motive here. Angel, you said, I think the good book might have changed him. You think so? I guess we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Like my theory, and it's just a theory, obviously, but I think because he seems to not be the top dog in prison anymore, judging by the way that people have been attacking him recently, maybe he wants to reclaim being top dog again by funding something in the prison so that he can send a message to everyone that's in there being like, I own this place. That's my take on it. But what do you guys think? Was Cyrus threatening Austin? Yeah, we're talking about that right now. So after Martin left, Dr. Austin G.H. Gatlin Holt comes in to check on him, and Cyrus continues to lay on the religious act thick, even grabbing him to ask him if he knows what it's like to turn away from God. And when Austin starts to leave the room, he said, God bless you, took a pause, and then said, and your family, and gave him like this look of like, I know something that you wish I didn't knew. Which to me kind of felt like Cyrus knew exactly who his family was and what they do. Yeah, like I don't know if he was necessarily threatening Austin, but I think he was just making it known that he knows exactly who he is. And he can hold that against him in some way, maybe. That's a good take. some TV show on HBO, like a character went through the same thing. Interesting. Christians can be petty. You ain't wrong. I am not a religious person, but I have eyes and ears. Alright. But anyway, since we talked about Martin a little bit, let's talk about his girlfriend, Lucy. She recently learned that Martin was getting alimony from one of his ex-wives, and she's starting to wonder if that's why Martin doesn't want to marry her, which I think it's established that it is, because Anna pointed that out to him a few weeks ago. It's so funny that Lucy and Felicia could have literally just gone to Anna to get this information instead of flying down to Pine Valley or wherever they went, breaking the law and needing Anna to bail them out of trouble in the first place. But Martin still refers to that particular ex-wife as a vulture, acting as if he gives her alimony, even though it's the other way around. I'm curious as to why she's had to give him such a big alimony payout, though. Not to mention, like, who is she? What do you, like, do you guys have any theories on who she could be? I don't really know. Like, part of me wants to hope it's Tracy. Even though, like, at one point a few weeks ago, I was like, well, she doesn't seem to have, you know, something on him. I don't know. They acted like they didn't really know each other well in public, even though there was no audience around them. So, like, that's why I'm a little bit iffy there. But it would be an interesting twist if Tracy was the ex-wife giving him money, and maybe that's why he, you know, is so weird about deception and the deceptor. You can say God bless you in a judgy way. In the South, isn't it? Bless your heart. Kaiwan, you said I liked the fact that it says your car back to his old. Oh, a callback to his character in All My Children, I think you mean. Tad the Cat. Angel, you said if I was getting that much in alimony, I wouldn't get remarried either. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't either. People keep saying Erica Kane. I beg to differ. That would be... I don't know if GH would be able to pull that off to get Erica Kane, Susan Lucci on the show. Especially at this point, you know what I mean? It's probably going to be the actor who plays Kevin's wife. Kevin's wife is going to be one of the ex-wives of the different cat. I'm sorry, Kevin's wife. I'm so confused. All right. All right. Well, let's talk about Laura and Kevin. I'm assuming you don't mean Kevin as in Kevin's wife, Laura. Yep. The cells say, "Bless your heart." Alright, but yeah, let's talk about Laura and Kevin and Valentine. They had an unsuccessful venture in Chechnya to literally no viewer's surprise. So Laura and Kevin decided that they were going to go to Greece and send Valentine back to Port Charles to be with Anna. Needless to say, no success in Greece either, but it was nice to see the old Cassadine compound again. I actually really liked that set. Speaking of set, and this is the week before... But the first house that Laura and Valentine visited in Chechnya was definitely Carly's old house, right? Y'all saw that too, right? Slightly modified, obviously, but clearly Carly's old house. The actor that plays Kevin's wife. Well, Kevin's like... But was Jeannie Francis on All My Children? I mean, I feel like she was, wasn't she? At one point. She was on another soap, but... Are you referring to Laura? They were like the Laura, Luke, and Laura on the show itself. I'm even more confused now. When did Valentine shoot Kevin? Valentine shot Kevin the moment he came on screen. He shot Kevin when he shot Nicholas over the balcony at that Cassadine compound, or maybe a different one. And also, yeah, it was when Valentine was actually a bad character, and he shot Kevin. Actually, he was trying to shoot Laura. He tried to shoot Laura, and Kevin jumped in front of the bullet. That's what happened. And that's why I just anytime people are like, oh, Valentine, I'm like, no. He literally tried to shoot Laura for being mad at him for killing Nicholas, even though it turned out Nicholas was alive. Hey, Brooklyn. Yeah, Jeannie Francis was on Young and Restless, but that was more recently. I know that, before Jeannie came back to General Hospital in the 90s, she did a stunt on All My Children in the 80s. Maybe very early 90s, too. Alright, let's move on, though. Let's talk about Sunny and Anna. They basically ran into each other at the Metrocourt restaurant and are still trying to figure out who was actually the target between the two of them from the shooting at the Metrocourt, but mostly leaning on Anna since the gun was found, or the gun that was found was traced back to the WSB. Though Sunny enclosed that he had been working with pikemen to her, which Anna advised Sunny he wants nothing to do with. You'd think that she'd put two and two together, that Valentine's the one that brought Sunny into that. And we don't really know why either, do we? Like, he was just like, it'll be in your best interest to join pikemen. And we don't really know Valentine's connection beyond that. But oh well. Sunny also thinks there's a chance that it may not have been Victor who set the plan in motion for the world to find out her secrets as a double agent, which opens up an entirely new set of things to solve, which, to be honest, I'm already too exhausted to try and even, solve this puzzle. I hope that someone tries to take a shot at whoever they were intending the target to be again, so that we would at least know one thing for sure, and then we can just go from there. Oh, she was on Days of Our Lives. Okay. I knew it was one of the two. Alright, Anyway, Dante and Christina showed up to the Metrocourt as well, and Christina tried to be nosy, but the rest of the adults in the room shut her down real quick. Anna caught Dante up to speed on their theories, minus the pikeman stuff, because God forbid. But Anna insisted that Dante doesn't have to be glued to her side indefinitely, and says, if I feel like I'm being threatened, you're my first call. But Anna thinks that if it was a WSB, it would be a one-off, and they would take months, if not years, to retaliate again, just to avoid suspicion. Also, Anna was pretty stoked to have Valentine home again when he got back. It was very lovey-dovey. They kissed and stuff. Maybe statement is like that. It's like the head of the WSB. Yeah, we don't know who the mysterious new person at the WSB is, do we? We just know that he wasn't taking Robert's calls when everyone was in danger in Greenland. Then Dante laughing at the fact that Sunny told Joss Mann to call the police. Yeah. Nathan said, you said, I'm surprised we don't see Dante at the PCPD that much these days. Same goes for Chase. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we really don't see them being cops, but that's probably a good thing given how stupid they act when they are cops. Alright, but let's touch base on Christina, because the writing is really so all over the place with her right now, and as a result, she's all over the place. She seems to be having an identity crisis, and they're featuring her a lot lately, so it's very noticeable. Between wanting to put together this LGBTQ shelter, youth center, possibly wanting to be Molly and TJ's surrogate, and the ways we watched her treat the likes of Michael and Nina and Esme and Jocelyn this week, she really is just all over the place. Yeah, Christina and Joss's cattiness. We'll talk about that too. Like, let me elaborate on the whole thing. So this week we saw Christina walk in on Michael not giving Nina an inch and trying to urge Michael to let it go and give her a chance, while also trying to get him on the board of her project, despite his hands being quite full between taking over Drew's role at Aurora, trying to manage ELQ while Valentine was away, and while Ned is Eddie Manning it up, and taking care of Willow at home while she recuperates, but he still agreed to do it. We also seen Christina bonding with Nina, and thanking her for believing in her project, because Nina had talked it up with Trish, the server from the Metro Court, and the two of them had a conversation about her brother's tragic story, Trish's brother, and how she wished something like this existed when he was younger. Side note, did y'all know that woman that plays Trish is actually Kin Shriner's real life girlfriend? Because I didn't. That is news to me. Apparently that's who Kin Shriner, aka Scott Baldwin, is dating. Coretta, you said Caddy McLean is John's real life wife, and she used to play Dixie. Okay. She played opposite of Michael E. Knight's Tad. I guess it's a possibility. There is an interesting trend of GH spouses joining the show. More on that later. But yeah, we also saw Christina being hella shady towards Jocelyn, just like Angel said, and sticking it to her by convincing Spencer to spend more time with Esme rather than Trina, and treating Esme with respect as well. We also seen her barging in on Molly and TJ's meeting with the surrogate specialist this week as well, and being upset that they were even seeing one. It's like we're watching the current writing team have a tug of war with themselves on what direction they want to take Christina in. So it's very jarring. Angel, you said I was on Christina's side until she suggested Spence, Esme, and the baby go on a picnic. Yeah, we're gonna talk. I'll elaborate a bit more on that in a moment too, because when we talk about Trina and Spencer, we'll get into the details of that part of the story. Now, when it comes to Christina, personally, I don't want to see her be a surrogate. They finally have Christina trying to make something of her life. And while carrying a child for her sister and her sister's partner is an incredible thing to do, having her drop the shelter idea to take on something like this just seems like another way to keep her in that same sort of pattern that she's always had, to start something and then just stop it and get distracted by something else. And I'd love to see the character mature for a bit and just focus on her original task at hand. And yeah, I suppose seeing a character be a surrogate could be seen as maturity, but I think the audience knows all too well that if Christina does this, the writers are going to take this opportunity to make it messy as possible and probably have her be reckless, maybe even lose the baby and cause permanent destruction between her and Molly, and Sam and Alexis are going to be flailing, trying not to take sides in a pretty crappy situation. That's how I feel like it'll play out if she ends up being the surrogate. Do I mean the tug of war between the current scab writers and Frank Valentini for GH? Frank Valentini is a control freak. Does Frank get a say in the stories though? Hard to say. But yeah, okay, so let's get into things now. So we'll talk about Molly and TJ first before we get into Spencer and Trina. Since this week was technically the first time we actually seen new Molly interact with TJ, I guess we'll start out with what you guys think about their chemistry. To me, they have an all-right chemistry. I don't think it's any more or any less than the chemistry that TJ had with Haley's Molly. I guess it's just easier for me to accept because we're 3 TJs in at this point, And Haley was Molly for all 3 of the TJs that we saw. And we've now just seen 3 Mollys in the span of just a couple of months with this TJ. So for me, it's kind of just like the shoe being on the other foot. Plus, they were on so little in the first place for so many years up until now that I'm not really invested in them in any sort of way. I don't really care, like, who's playing who at this point and what happens. And I don't know, like, in a perfect world, like, Haley should have still been playing her for the story. But in the real world, Haley done messed up her life. So she can't. So this is what we're left with, and I wasn't invested enough in them as a couple to care who plays her. Like, that's just how it is for me, personally. And I suppose I can hope the role will be there for Haley should she decide to take responsibility for her mistakes and comes back after she gets the help that she needs. Maybe that's why I feel unbothered, just because, like, in my mind, it's also, like, potentially a temporary situation anyway. Even if it's temporary for a long while, like a year, like, it still could be temporary. What are y'all saying? Does Christina have a key to Molly and TJ's place, or did she just walk because the door is unlocked? I think the door was unlocked because Molly and TJ had to, like, open the door to let the expert in, right? Oh my god, I was embarrassed for Molly and TJ. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that next. Nathan, you said the current version of Molly and TJ doesn't do it for me. They should have written them both out. This Molly is older than me, and she shouldn't be. The actress is not Stacey Dash with the black not cracking. I don't know. I still see that to me, she looks still quite youthful. But, you know, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? But anyway, let's talk about the stories now with Molly and TJ. So, we'll touch a little bit on last week too, like the previous week. Just because it's been a weird time to watch her these last couple of weeks, since the temporary writers have taken over for many reasons. Obviously, things are going to be a bit jarring with the transition of the writing team, but we also had Molly get an injury off screen, and I'm assuming it's because at the time this was probably when Haley was supposed to return to the show after her accident. I mean, they had the character get into some kind of accident, and I swear, correct me if I'm wrong, at first they said it was a car accident, and then they switched it to that she, like, tripped and fell. Did I imagine that? I swear at the start, Sam or Alexis mentioned that she was in a bit of a fender bender. I swear that happened. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Needless to say, though, they have Molly on a couch with a healing boot cast, and we had like 2 whole episodes dedicated to Molly talking about this toy horse from her childhood, with Christina last week and Alexis this week. I actually don't mind when 2 characters just have, like, conversations like this from time to time, but 2 episodes about a toy horse back to back seems a bit much. Like, in my opinion, like, I don't mind those, like, little sweet moments here and there, but like 2 episodes. But at least the subject did end up changing for Molly and Alexis to a conversation on whether Christina would be a good fit to be a surrogate. And the answer was pretty much no, because of Christina's personality. Alexis thinks that this is just another thing that she's taking on impulsively without a thought to what the repercussions could be in terms of what having a baby could do to her, and how there's a risk that since the baby would be with her DNA, she might try to pull rank or feel like she has a say in the baby's life. So the conversation gave Molly a lot to think about. And then cut to the next day when TJ and Molly are having that meeting about the surrogacy with the expert and what the best way to go about getting one would be via either someone related to Molly or someone in the system of surrogates. And then Christina barges in, though to her credit she left pretty quickly too, but regardless of that, it made Molly so pissed off because, you know, Christina just walks in like ranting and swearing about Jocelyn. But because of that, Molly, after Christina left, was like, yeah, no, we'll be going with the system. Christina was already pretty crushed that they were even seeing someone about surrogacy in the first place, though. So when Molly says that Christina has a tendency to make things about her, I would say this proves it a little bit, doesn't it? Because it shouldn't matter to Christina who carries her sister's baby as long as her sister gets what she wants in the end, right? But Christina seems mad that they are going with a different route. And that annoys me. That annoys me. Angel, you said, yeah, Sam said it was a car accident and now this week she fell. Okay, I'm so glad I didn't imagine it because I was like, I swear to God. I swear they said it was a car accident first. Which would make sense because of what Haley got into. And then they quickly changed it. Maybe they changed it because, you know, a little bit too close to real life. And given what the situation ended up being, I can see them wanting to switch things up a little bit quickly. You're not wrong. I think that was a thing back then. If he did have, remember when the key, sorry? They acting like Molly can't do anything. She can get up from the couch and cook. Christina probably feels rejected. Maybe a little bit, but like, she needs to, like, you know, Sam already had this talk with Christina and Molly. They need to communicate their feelings. Like, don't run off and be pissed off. Obviously, like, yeah, come back later from this meeting, but like, come back and talk it out and like hear Molly out. Ay. All right, okay, but now let's talk about Trina and Spencer, and Esme and Jocelyn, the whole thing. And we'll throw Trina in the mix, in terms of like the fact that she was away from them in that scene. So Trina and Spencer had agreed a week or two ago that they would avoid being around each other as much for her mother's sake, because it's obvious that Portia doesn't like him and Trina feels like she has enough on her plate as it is with Curtis. That is, if Curtis even lets her take care of him at all, which we'll get into later. But now I thought that Finn had made a breakthrough with Curtis the other week, but it turns out he still is refusing to let Portia or Trina in to see him. And poor Trina is just sitting alone at the hospital, waiting in the waiting room, feeling helpless. Thankfully, Dex walks by and offers her a listening ear to vent to him about the situation. Meanwhile, Spencer and Esme had shown up to Kelly's with Ace, where Jocelyn was working, which Jocelyn wasn't thrilled about. And when Christina had walked in and treated Esme like a human being, Esme had asked what's up between Joss and Christina because she could see some tension there, and that the only reason why she was curious is because Christina treats Esme like a human being and just wants to know what's going on. And Spencer actually admitted to Jocelyn that he actually felt kind of sorry for her when she had said that, which I'm not sure how I feel about, because we did recently get a glimpse of the fact that she, as an Esme, is still capable of scheming to work things in her favor, even if she doesn't really remember her past. And if Spencer gets played again, he gets played again. I keep reminding myself that Spencer at some point is going to make an exit to become a primetime actor, but also, outside of soaps, actors and writers are currently on strike. So I don't even know if that's still going to happen, at least not anytime soon. I don't know where that's going to stand, because I'm assuming perhaps the writing of that series is likely done, but the actors are also striking, so I don't think that they can shoot anything right now, because it's a primetime show. Hey, Sandy. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Spencer and Nicholas Chavez in terms of like how long it's gonna take before he gets to actually shoot that series. Now anyway, let's carry on though. So Jocelyn admits that she won't ever be able to forgive and forget what Esme did just because she doesn't remember it, which is completely valid, even more so now that we know that the old Esme is still kind of in there, just in a new way. Spencer and Jocelyn end up talking about Trina and why they're spending time apart, and Jocelyn tries to convince him to just try and spend some time with Trina, away from where the mom would notice them together. Unfortunately, it was Spencer's feeling sorry for Esme, along with a push from Christina, that convinces him to spend the afternoon with Esme and Ace instead of Trina, which Christina gloated to Jocelyn about. It's kind of like a weird thing for her to gloat about too, like having her cousin spend more time with a woman who did terrible things to him and the people he cares about instead of his girlfriend. Like, yeah, I know Ace is there, but he's been spending a lot of time with Ace anyway already. It's almost like Christina's kind of shipping Esme with Spencer. All right, let me scroll up and see what's been going on. How the writers could think so that some of us would be invested in these two new Davis sisters not happening, in my opinion. And it's okay that you're late, Sandy. Gina Index, Peyton, Trina Index hate me. I have no idea what that means. Trina Index. Trina Index. Okay, I get you. Here's the thing, Kaiwan. I don't necessarily disagree with you there. And you know that I love Trina and Spencer. But if you've seen like Tabiana or Evan's social media, those two seem quite close in real life. Like, they spend a lot of time together, they take cute pictures together, she's given him piggyback rides. Like, they got some good ass chemistry behind the scenes. So, like, if Spencer were to leave the show, I wouldn't hate the idea of Trina and Dex. Like, if that's my only other option, then like, I'd go for that. And then Jocelyn can try to go running back to Cameron and he can turn her down, and that would be well deserved. See, I can be unbiased. Oh, man. Alright, so Christina and Esme? Oh, no, I don't want that. That I will disagree with. And Nathan, you said, nope, they can't shoot anything until the strike ends, so NAC is staying on GH for the time being. Yeah, but did they start filming already, though? Like, before the strike happened for the actors? Yeah, Spencer and Joss ain't happening. Joss seems to, like, to me, Joss sees him as an annoying little brother that she can't stand. Like, that she puts up with for Trina's sake. Evan Hofer is really all about Eden McCoy in real life. I know. They seem. I think they might be secretly dating because they've gone on some like movie premieres and stuff together. I'm just saying that behind the scenes they seem to be close friends, Evan and Tabiana, like, as well. So I think there is chemistry there to explore. That's all I'm saying. Oh, today's your birthday, Sandy. Happy birthday. You've had too much fun celebrating. I'll see you Wednesday. Oh yeah, we'll see you Wednesday, Sandy. I hope you had a really good birthday. Nathan, you said I didn't like that scene between Christina, Joss, Esme, and Spencer. Christina was drugged back then. She should know better. Wait, Christina was drugged? Why don't I remember that? I know she was abused, but she was drugged? Well, you know. There's been too much happening. Too much has happened to Christina for me to remember all of it. But please remind me, like, remind me when that happened. All right, but yeah. So, anyway. To me, it feels like they're already setting up Christina to be made to look like a fool for multiple things. Like supporting Nina when the truth about what she did to Carly and Drew is bubbling under the surface, and supporting Esme when she will inevitably eventually show her true colors, even if those true colors are far less sinister than what she used to be. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Christina just being all gung-ho on these people that are being deceitful to her loved ones. DGU said, I'm convinced 100% that Evan and Eden are dating. Tabiana and Eden are good friends behind the scenes as well. Avery Pohl is also very friendly with them too. They post a lot on Instagram. I love that they're all close in real life, it seems. Except maybe, I don't think Nicholas is as close to the rest of the cast. But the girlies and Evan, yeah. I think Joss and, Eden and Avery both went to Tabiana's 21st birthday together. So, it's cool that they're friends. Angel, you said, I just want Christina to grow up because they keep making Christina the AJ of the family. I do too. I want Christina to just grow up and be a mature adult and, have this coming of age moment where she's actually getting her life together finally. Because the girl, she spent her whole teenage years being a hot mess, and most of her young adult life too. Let her win, for God's sake. Stop making her a mess. All right, let's move on though. Let's talk about Willow and Michael for a minute. Willow was bonding with Nina this week too, so she'll be getting played for a fool too. But that's beside the point for now. The one thing I want to talk about when it comes to Willow is Michael's reaction to her basically looking forward to her getting her life and career back together. When it comes to her wanting to continue with being a nurse again, he just wasn't really having it. He basically wants Willow to be his housewife and stay-at-home mom while he works. She even pointed out that she didn't mean right away either, but, down the line when she is feeling better. And he still didn't seem fond that she was even, thinking about it at all, really. And to that again, I say, girl, you had Chase standing right there who would support you in everything you do, and you went with this blue-collared ass hack. What is he doing? Ain't no way this life is going to be as sweet as she wants it to be once the cancer is completely out of her system. But good segue though. Speaking of Chase, did y'all hear that Josh Swickard's wife is coming to GH as well? So, the only thing I know about it so far is she's going to be playing a nurse at Ferncliff. So she's probably going to be interacting with Sasha. Whether she's a good character or a bad character, I don't know. But if you guys have ever watched the movies that Josh and his wife have starred in together, they have great on-screen chemistry too, naturally. So it could give Brooklyn and Chase a run for their money if they decide to have Chase and whatever character she's playing cross paths. But this could be another parking lot hire situation where they hire her on, but they don't really have her interact with Josh just because, to make it seem less biased. But having said that, and I feel bad that I don't remember her name at the moment at the top of my head, but she's a good actress. She really is. The movies that Josh and her have done together, they're both phenomenal in those movies, and they were on Netflix. They were your typical cheesy romance movies, but still cute and good to watch, and they both played their roles really well. But yeah, I don't know. Would you guys want to see Josh and his wife be interested in each other on screen? Do you think that they could give Chase and Brooklyn a run for their money? How many let me scroll up. Willow and Michael are so boring. Milo is boring. I know, y'all. I know. And yeah, we had to. But hey, it was literally so I could trash talk Michael, okay? I had reasons for it. I don't like Willow and Michael either. I'm just glad that I could trash them in this opportunity. Alright. Okay, you guys are saying, yeah, I think Michael is controlling. now that they're not really a good couple. I would want to go back to nursing too. No one goes to nursing school to not practice. True. Everybody's mate has to be on the show. Well, I mean, if they're actors, like, I guess it's a cute behind the scene nod. But if it turns into a Peter August situation, I swear to God, if they make her some crazy ass villain and keep her on the show for 5 years and like refuse to kill her off, I'm gonna be pissed. If she stays in her own lane and she's a decent character, whatever. Don't make her this unlikable being. Please. I can't do it again. I cannot. Nathan, you said, yes, I heard about that. More pointless casting for GH. Nothing against Josh and his wife, but is this even needed? I don't think so. I mean, I don't, like, the thing is, too, is that we don't really know. Maybe it's just like a guest starring role for this little brief story that we're seeing with Sasha. You know what I mean? Because obviously Sasha's going to be going on leave with her maternity leave soon. So if she's only in Ferncliff, we're not going to see her that much. Angel, you said, I'm going to show up on set to see if I get a role too, because baby. Why not? Let's all do it. Hallmark movie fluff. No thanks. It was a Netflix movie, okay? It wasn't, listen, I hate Hallmark movies. They were better than the Hallmark movies, in my opinion. My mom is obsessed with Hallmark movies, and every Christmas she will watch the 15 movies in a row, which are all the same movie, but with different characters. Some of the same actors, too, even. It was slightly less corny than the Netflix movie. I mean, than the Hallmark movies. I refuse to watch Hallmark movies on the regular until I reach menopause. See, my mom's already reached it. That's why she's watching that thing. I'm getting tired of the actors getting their family and spouses on the show. It's getting ridiculous. I agree with you. I don't think it's right. But, you know, he put in a good word for her and probably got her an audition with Frank. Well, it's with Mark Cheshire, technically, right? But it still sounds like Hallmark type fluff. I just can't do Hallmark. Too syrup sweet. I get it. Out of work, soap actors are always in them too. Well, I think, the wife produced the movie, right? In the 2 movies that they did together. So she's a producer and an actor. So, well, actually, hold on. No, I think the very first movie that she and Josh were in together were How They Met. And eventually they fell in love, they got married. And then they started in a couple more movies together, which she produced. And also, like, to their credit, like, those movies ended up being #1 on Netflix for a little while. At least we haven't seen Maurice Bernard's son in a long time. True. Come on, you said I like Hallmark movies a little bit, but I like my family. All right. Let's go back to talking about the show though. So we talked about Chase and Brooklyn. Let's talk a bit more about Brooklyn. Sorry, y'all, talking a lot is making my throat dry. Tracy still tries to get her to do her bidding and get more info on the Deceptor, but Brooklyn is so far standing pretty firm on not doing anything more for her, and I hope that she continues to do so. And hopefully she lets Chase in on what Tracy's trying to do if Tracy keeps pushing. But she also shared scenes with Cody this week, who told her that he thinks that Gladys is behind Sasha's complete 180 on her mental health, when she had been recovering, but for whatever reason Brooklyn wasn't convinced, and that annoys me because Brooklyn's a smart woman typically in terms of reading people. Like, so the fact that she can't see through Gladys, who is, generally speaking, not a great person, never has been, it's obvious. Like, it's not so out of the way that, she would screw Sasha over. Obviously, Cody didn't fill her in on the rest about the gambling and owing Selena Wu money. But like, he could have at least like been like, let's just say there's more than you know going on that I can't get into, and I have a good reason to suspect her. Like, that's, I wish he would have said that much to her. Brooklyn, you said you love my Lifetime movies. Hallmark and Lifetime movies are low budget and quickly made, easy for soap stars to do and still do their soap roles. I can't blame them. I would too get my bag. Like the characters on One Life to Live, they have good chemistry. DG said, I don't blame them for the hustle, but if I were a soap actor, I'd be dying to do primetime or film. All the fluffy romance would bore me to death. I'd want to play a cop or a criminal. Well, now they have no choice but to be on soaps because there are no primetime shows or movies being shot right now. So it is what it is. Angel, you said, where's Brad? No idea. Good question. Where is Brad? What is he up to? I hope that we see him again. Because he's not even like at the club at this point. At the Savoy. Alright. Let's talk about some other Quartermains. Let's talk about Eddie, Olivia, and Leo. Leo has definitely handled Ned's new personality a lot better than Olivia has been. But this week, we actually seen Olivia get a bit more appreciation from Eddie for two reasons. One, her hangover food and coffee because he's been out partying like it's 1995. And two, because she shared her stories about her wild child days, pre-Dante, the clubs that she used to sneak into with her supposed BFF, Lois, by befriending the bouncers, all the fun wild times that they had. I knew that Olivia knew the Sorellos, but I think this is the first time that they established that Lois and Olivia were actually best friends. Like, they always just seemed to make it seem like they knew each other because they lived in the same neighborhood but weren't close. But now they were BFFs, which would certainly be an interesting dynamic to see them interact now that she's married to her childhood best friend's ex-husband. And God, it's going to be such a missed opportunity if they don't bring Rena Sofer back for a little bit of the story. I know there's some potential awkwardness in there, but like, to have her mentioned so often, to show her picture, to have Ned think that he's Eddie Main, and to not bring Lois back in some way would be the biggest missed opportunity with this train wreck of a storyline. Like, if you're gonna put us through this, writers, bring her back. Because we know that this silly, stupid story is only because you wanted to stretch out the Nina thing coming out soon. Ay, ay, ay. Primetime is really hard to get into. Oh, hold on. I know with the strike there's not much choice. Primetime is really hard to get into. They look down on soap stars. Yeah, which is a damn shame because like soap actors have to work damn hard to remember the amount of lines that they do and to only have one take. Yeah, some of it shows in their acting. GH though has been blessed with a lot of good actors, especially in the moments where I do catch other soaps. I cringe at some of the acting on the other soaps, but GH has a lot of good actors in it, and some of them do actually crack primetime from GH more often than not. Even if it's just for like a guest star role in like a primetime show, they get in there. DJ, you said Eddie Maroon or moron. Such a silly, pointless story, yeah. But God bless Wally Kurth. He's doing his best with that dribble. Yeah, to Wally's credit, he actually is doing a good job at playing him differently from Ned. GG, you said, I love how she asked him if he saw any grandpas at the club. Yeah, I love that Olivia called him out on that. Like, you know you're old, right? Oh, man. Brooklyn, you said absolutely my favorite weekend movies for sure. Lois and Olivia sharing men. The story is just empty without Rena Sofer or Vanessa Marcel. Yeah, I agree. But I think that they mentioned it the first time she came on here, and she was friends with them. Well, yeah, like, I know that they were friends, because obviously Brooklyn and Olivia knew each other as well. But I just didn't see them being, like, not BFFs, you know what I mean? Like, they knew of each other. Obviously, Dante and Brooklyn grew up next to each other, and they were friends, but they didn't really insinuate or talk too much about Olivia's specific relationship with Lois. You know what I mean? Like, and even when Olivia and Ned got married, there was no like conversation about, calling Lois or like getting Lois's blessing or any conversation between the two. So it's just like, it's been an overlooked sort of thing. Like, yes, they knew each other, their kids grew up together. Doesn't really translate to they knew each other as teenagers and like partied together. You know what I mean? DG, you said the sad part is when Raina Sofer left Bold and Beautiful after 10 years. She said she would be open to returning to GH, but Frank didn't ask her. That's so annoying. Ugh. So annoying. The Sorellos. Young and Restless Actor was an episode of Martin. Yeah, I did hear a YNR actor passed away recently. DG said, it's all about your agent. I see soap stars in primetime all the time. I just saw Tad Luckinbill, ex-TJ on YNR, on Special Ops Lioness, which is a spy drama on Paramount Plus. Interesting. Brooklyn, you said exactly, it would be so awesome having Lois return. DG, you said Wally Kurth doesn't look too bad to be in his 60s, but the rock and roll thing just doesn't ring true anymore. But then I thought it was ridiculous even in the 90s. I remember back in the 90s, Edward called Eddie a leather pants hooligan. Yeah, John Ingle was really good at comedy. Oh, God, I miss him so much. Frank was too busy saving acting budget for Josh Kelly to become Cody. Ay. That is so frustrating. Some of the things that these people behind the scenes do for the show and the things that they overlook. And Frank's got to know that we're begging for Lois at this point. Like, and I feel like collectively a lot of longtime viewers of GH, or the viewers that at least knew of Lois and watched the YouTube scenes with her, they want her back. They want her back. And also, I remember at one point Rena was not really open to going to GH, especially in the Guza era when it was full of mobsters and less heart. There's a bit more heart than what there used to be, 10 years ago. But I think it's gotten to a point where she, it wouldn't be weird to have a character like her on the show, because there are other eccentric characters on the show like Lucy even now, and they are getting their stories and their screen time, and it's a bit more balanced in that sense. It could be way more balanced for sure, but I feel like she would gel well with the cast. And also it's time that we start to see Lois and Brooklyn scenes, like I want to see Lois interacting with a grown-up Brooklyn. We only got to see the second actress that played her for a little bit interacting with Brooklyn, and not for very long. Can't have Roger unemployed. Yes, we can. Frank can't. Angel, you said if they wanted Ned to be Eddie May, Ned could have done a rock concert for autism charity, not this amnesia, because this ain't it. Yeah, you right. Alright, let's move on though. Let's move on. Michael B. Jordan used to be Reggie on All My Children back in the day. Yeah, there are definitely, big superstars that stemmed from soaps, but it is a rarity. Rena Sofer was a lot of fun on GH, but she was tremendous on Bold and Beautiful. She played a total psycho. She made Esme look like Mother Teresa, but they paired her with someone as old as John Ingle. Interesting. Yeah, I tried to watch Bold a couple times and I just couldn't get into it. They're just lucky that they get location shoots. All right, but let's move on. Let's get back to it. Let's talk about Curtis and Taggart. This is more so about comparing the actors and the characters more so than what's been going on, but we'll get into a little bit of all of it. We already know the situation. He can't walk, he's pushing people away, and he's having an incredibly hard time coming to terms with his new reality. He did get to show his vulnerability side to Stella, who is apparently still on the list to see him, probably because he knows her well enough that she would just barge right in regardless. So there's no point in even not putting her on the list. But Stella does respectively give him advice about letting the people that care about him help him through this time, basically. I think he's got a long way to go before he gets to that point mentally, which I get. It's a hell of a thing to deal with mentally, to come to terms with something like never being able to walk again. But I don't really know how I feel about this story. Here's why. As someone who loves when actors get the opportunity to have some good material to work with, I'm excited for Donnell Turner in that sense, to have the chance to show us what he can do with emotional material like this, because this is new territory for him that we haven't seen from him. He's never been through something this dark before, not on screen at least. We know that he had an addiction back in the day. And we got to see him this week crying and hitting his legs, desperately trying to feel anything, which was sad to watch. But I don't know if that was necessarily because of his acting chops or because I'd feel sad seeing anyone go through this situation, even fictionally. So I don't know. He's not wowing me so far. I think that there's other actors in there that could wow me with this type of story. So far, I'm not super impressed. But that isn't even the problem for me either. The problem for me is that there is a story within the realm of characters that I find would be much more interesting to watch. Not only as someone who enjoys actors getting meaty material, but also from a storyline point of view. And that is how Taggart is coping with the news that Trina isn't his daughter, even though she probably really is. Suffice to say, Taggart is becoming an alcoholic, drinking his sorrows away, and we're not really seeing any of it. He wasn't even on this week at all, which is why I'm bringing it up. Like, we're talking more about like the grand scheme instead of the actual story from this week. But I feel like I needed to bring it up because it kind of feels like we were given this Curtis is paralyzed story to make up with how little we see Taggart, and how little we will see Taggart during this story. For whatever reason, Rael Andrews doesn't seem to be able to commit to GH. I'm not sure why, which is why over the last few years we've had two actors kind of swinging back and forth playing the role. And that can be a bit jarring for a storyline that's heavy like this. But I find that there's just a lot more to explore with Taggart becoming an alcoholic than Curtis being paralyzed for life. They can only do so much with that. Taggart becoming an alcoholic could not only put himself in danger, but the people he cares about in danger as well. Particularly Trina. We could really see a beautiful story of Trina realizing how badly the news of her not really being his daughter is affecting him, considering he put up such a strong front for her when the news came out. Like, he was so strong the night the truth came out, and he held it together for her, and he said everything that she needed to hear. And, you know, like, she basically sees Taggart as a superhero who has never wavered in her life. So it could be a really great story for both of them, both coming to terms that he's not as strong as he appears to be, whereas Curtis's story is more so all about him, and the characters are just going to have to deal with his stubborn streak, and Curtis is already unlikable to a pretty decent sized chunk of the audience, largely because of his stubbornness and his hypocrisy. And giving him a story that is going to basically double down on those traits of his, yikes. That's how I feel on that matter. What are you guys saying, though? Sorry, I kind of ranted there for a while. Hey, Jacarius. Oh, God, I got to scroll up a lot. Okay. DG, you already missed it. That was the first thing we talked about. Sorry. We already talked about Jeannie and Jeff Kober and the purgatory scenes. That was the first thing we discussed. I'm sorry you missed it. How's everyone been? I've been good. I've been doing well, Jakarius. Thank you. Curtis's story is so predictable, but Donnell is giving good performances. He's doing all right. He's just not wowing me. That's all. And yes, DG, Jakarius has his own show, or as you can tell by his screen name. Angel, you said, as a disabled person that was born with spina bifida, Curtis is getting on my nerves. I get mourning, but disability doesn't mean I can't do shit for myself. GG, you said, but I would prefer Donnell to be more active like he was in the Cassadine story. Me too. I was actually really looking forward to him being a more action-packed character, because that's, even like years ago, that's what I wanted him to be. Like, I wanted him to, like, because he had a PI thing with Sam for a little while, and I wanted him and Sam and Billy Miller's version of Jason to all be working together in it. Like, that would have been so cool to watch. Because, like, Donnell is smooth, right? He can be that sort of sexy, like, superhero kind of character, and they just don't let him be. And the Cassadine story, like, was the first time we actually finally got to see Curtis do something like that. So I was stoked, and now he's paralyzed for life. Ain't that some shit? I'm so mad. DG, you said so many GH leading men have been paralyzed. Luke Spencer, Steve Hardy, just to name a few. It's very cliche by now. Angel, you said, nor does disability mean I don't deserve love and be a parent. It kind of shows how Curtis views people with disabilities. Yeah, like I said, at least it's really not gonna paint him in a good light. In a good light, which is not good when people already take a lot of issues with the character. I think the guy that plays Taggart has a podcast. Yeah, but so does Maurice Bernard. That's not an excuse. Sorry, what are you saying, Ruth? And DG said it's sad how little they use Real Andrews. Days doesn't seem to use him much either. Oh, he's on Days as well? I didn't know that. His talent is really wasted. Yeah, because like what little we have seen of Real and Taggart in this alcoholic storyline, he's so good. He's so good. Yeah, they don't want to do a lot with Taggart. I care more about Taggart more than Curtis. Yeah, I do too. I want to care more about Curtis though. But there's a lot of history with Taggart, you know? It's a longevity thing. He's a long-term character who's been around for, even though he was gone for quite some time, there's a lot of history with the character. Dang, that wasn't purgatory. That was hell where Cyrus belongs. Listen, I seen it, and we talked about this too, DG. What I had said, like, I saw it as purgatory, but on his way to hell. But to your credit, Angel agrees with you that it was hell. I just thought it was like the place before hell, like that he was clearly going to end up there, and you know, and then the rest. DG said, I still like Curtis more than Portia. I'm tired of her whining her lies. Yes, I like him to be a WSB agent. We need a younger generation of that. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree, DG. I know Real Andrews has a fitness business. He is certified personal trainer, but so does Steve Burton. You see, y'all are saying all these things, but there's a lot of other soap actors that have their side hustles too, and they're still getting all the screen time and doing their thing. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of actors on even this show with side hustles that are still doing their thing elsewhere and getting a lot of screen time. But anyway, let me just finish my point here about Taggart and Curtis. I don't want to see a storyline of Curtis treating his family like trash when they're only trying to be there for him. Curtis has a whole army behind him, just like Stella said that he does. It makes sense that for now he wants to be alone and wallow, but if we have to sit through several months of this, I am not here for it. I can't watch that for months. And I can just picture weeks of the same thing happening. One week, he'll be treating Portia like trash. The next, it'll be Trina. The one after that will be Marshall. The one after that will be Stella. And then Jordan, and so on and so forth. And it'll just be a vicious cycle. That's how I feel. And I don't want to sit through that. I'd rather see Taggart go through a story with Trina. And Trina, help him sort of get his life back. And it would be so cool to see, like, even Trina realized that her father isn't a superhuman. He's a real human with real feelings. Yes, he was being strong for her sake, but it doesn't mean that he was actually strong. And I want her to see that and notice that he's in trouble. And I want to see the storyline play out on screen in real time. Like, I don't want the Cliff Notes version. I want to see it all play out. But instead, we're going to be having Curtis whine. And, like, again, shitty thing to go through. Unbelievably shitty thing to go through. I don't know how I would feel if I found out that I was suddenly paralyzed and then could never walk again. I would have a hard time with that too. But I would want people to hold me and hug me and cry with me. Like, you know what I mean? I think it's a masculinity thing. He thought, he's going to step up and be the dad and step up and be the husband and step up and be the hero. And then, he feels like he's less of a man because he can't walk. And he just needs to come to terms with it doesn't make him any less of a man. What really matters is his character. And that's that on that. Okay, what are y'all saying? If Curtis wasn't such a jerk, maybe I would be more interested in him, but I don't feel much at the moment. Yeah, that's where I'm at too, Nathan. Curtis is ridiculous. I think that Curtis is ridiculous because the woman, like, they were 20 years, but he still is missing. Huh? DG, you said, I'm sure it was hell because of the red lights, and he was trapped in the cell, and of course Laura was his conscience and a surrogate judge of sorts. Great writing for once. Valid. Ruth, you said, what is the word longevity? Why do people throw words that you don't know? Longevity means a long time. It's not a hard word. Chikarius, you miss Jason? I like Jason, but I don't miss him. The show wasn't any worse without him. It wasn't any better. It wasn't any worse. To me, he's just another character that can come and go, and the show is going to move on regardless. Sounds like Real Andrews does it professionally, Steve Burton doesn't. Yeah, but at the same time, like, I'm just saying that there is a lot of people that do more than one thing on this show. Whether it's professional or not, it's taking time out of their day. That's all I'm saying. I know it doesn't make sense why Real doesn't get more screen time on GH. I think Frank just neglects him, to be honest. I agree. I hope that they don't drag out Curtis's bitterness. It will be lame. Nathan, you said the show relies too much on newer characters for whatever reason. I'm not against new characters, but what about the characters that matter, like Taggart, for example? Yeah. I also want to see a better story for Taggart too. It's not like he's lost Trina forever. She still wants him in her life. This isn't a good justification for alcoholism. I agree with you there. It's just that, like, he's not handling it well, and he's drinking as a result. But you have to remember too, like, there's a lot of Taggart's life that we don't know about. Like a lot of it happened off screen. We don't know what he's been through. Maybe he's had problems with alcohol in the past. We don't know. We really don't know. There was a 20-year period where he was gone, and the only thing that we really know about him is that he ended up with Portia and helped raise Trina, but he was an absentee father because he was working undercover for a drug ring, and we know that Curtis didn't bode well when he was undercover, and he got addicted, so who's to say that Taggart didn't go through the same thing? We don't know. So, like, I'm just saying, there's a lot more to explore with this story. So, like, there's a lot of potential and a lot of different places to go. That's my main issue with GH under Frank Valentini. Brooklyn, you said, yeah, I'm disappointed Curtis actually gave us more action than this wannabe Drew. Miss our original Billy Miller, that's for sure. You're right, it's a male pride issue. Yeah, it really is. I get that, but I hope it doesn't drag out. It takes a real man to admit he needs help and to be vulnerable. So many men don't get that simple fact. It's true. Like, I think, like, if anything, it shows how strong a man is when he is willing to show his own vulnerability and to be open about the things that they go the things that they go through, and to be honest about when they're sad, and to cry and not feel bad about crying, and not feel this weird, I know it's such a like buzzword, but toxic masculinity. It's like some men feel like, oh, men shouldn't cry. Why shouldn't men cry? Damn, like, dude, you know how messed up I would be if I didn't cry every night when my dog passed away? Like, I can't even imagine bottling all that up. Like, even like having to hold it together like during the day at work was hard for me. You know what I mean? So like, I made sure I'd like, when I was in the thick of it, I'd just come down to my room down here and just tough it out and lay in my bed and cry, and I would do the same at night, before bed as well. Like, just get it all out, man. Like, ay. But also, it ultimately comes down to how you were raised. So, we don't know what Curtis's upbringing was like. We don't really know his mom that well. We know Aunt Stella, and she's very old school. So, but I don't know. Was Taggart married to Portia when he was on the floor ceiling with Sonny back in the day? I don't think so. I think the marriage with Portia happened after Taggart left the show. But obviously Portia lives in Port Charles. So, and I'm assuming she has lived in Port Charles all this time. Like, Frank created his own show when he took over GH. Like Jill Phelps, he marginalized a lot of history and misused some other history to prop up his own story ideas and characters. That's true. DG said, I was always told boys do cry, and then I would say, watch me. And I grew up in the 1970s as a black boy. Not easy. Boys don't cry, I mean. Oh, told boys don't cry. I mean, I grew up, I'm a 90s kid, and I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. I didn't really have a male influence in my life, but it's not like they were telling me it's okay to cry. Like, they weren't those kind of parents either. But I don't know. I've never really, I don't know. Maybe I've just never been afraid to cry. And it's not like I was a big old crybaby when I was a kid either. It's just that, like, when I'm sad and I feel like overwhelmed, I'm gonna cry, and I'm not gonna be sorry about it. You know what I mean? That's just always how it's been for me. And I also think it's a beautiful thing when you can see when someone is not afraid to show that vulnerability. It's like, this is like a cheesy sort of like example, but like, let's say like a YouTuber is talking about something that that's really heavy. It's a male YouTuber. When they are like going on camera and actually showing how devastated they are and crying, it's a beautiful thing, and you feel like, wow, like this person's being so open and honest with me. It's just nice to see. And sadly, it's especially, even 10, 15 years ago, it was such a rare thing for guys to show vulnerability. So the fact that more guys are doing that is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. It's frustrating, but ABC has allowed a lot of this to happen, which doesn't make sense. Yes, Frank has done some good things, but this is not One Life to Live. All over again, it's GH. Exactly. Mystic Mars, Curtis will be walking again by Christmas. We'll see. Yeah, I'm with you, DG. I think that they're gonna drag it out. All right, have a good night, Jacarius. Yeah, well, let's keep things moving along, guys, because we still got a couple more things to talk about here. Well, let's talk about Gregory. Since we're talking about one paralyzed story, we might as well go into another. We touched base on how Tracy and Gregory ended up having dinner the other day. And Tracy noticed something was wrong with his health. She even had called Alexis, who covered for him. But Alexis does call Gregory into her office to confront him about how long he's going to keep his ALS diagnosis a secret. I love that she's like, you literally have a doctor and a detective as your kids. They're going to figure it out. Just tell them. But here's the thing as well. I personally know someone with ALS, and I will say that I do get Gregory not wanting to tell anybody yet. Taking care of a loved one with that is truly a lifetime commitment, and he will probably live the rest of his life not only feeling like a burden to his loved ones, but also feeling like he's at the mercy of everybody. And I can't even imagine. I can't see myself being able to live with that. Like, to feel like a burden. And so, like, with the Curtis thing, like, I think that's a factor in, in what he's going through mentally as well. But Curtis isn't, like, paralyzed from the neck down, it's his legs. He can push himself in a wheelchair. He can still exercise and get around and do these things. Whereas someone with ALS, they're just fully relying on their significant other or their family or the technology that can help them with certain things. But, like, overall, like, they're a rock. They're essentially a beached whale, like, without the help of technology and their loved ones to help them move. DG said they really need to scrap Gregory's ALS. No one wants to see that now after Willow's cancer. So, and here's my thing too. Like, with this storyline, the moment that he tells his family is going to cast a shadow on each day, and every day with the family they're going to be on edge until it finally happens. I am surprised that he hasn't just decided to skip town, because it's easier to hide something like this from afar than it is living in the same town and trying to spend time with everyone at the same time. Like, it's a wild concept for me. It doesn't make any sense that he is sticking around. Like, yeah, like, he, at this point, because obviously his condition is getting worse, I would be dipping, and maybe, yeah, perhaps Finn and Chase will be like, oh, it's weird that he's suddenly moved, like, what happened? But I think that they would also respect him and maybe not visit him for a little while, but eventually maybe they see him down the line, and maybe at that point he'd already be in that position, being helped by nurses and stuff. And then they can deal with the fact that he didn't tell them. It just would make more sense for him to leave. It makes no sense that he's hiding the secret and staying in town. And that's where the storyline loses me a bit. I think Gregory reminds Edward, or reminds Tracy of Edward. Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, I don't know. It's not like Edward had ALS or became sort of a, bedridden. I think really for Tracy, it's just that she's concerned because this is her best friend's father. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where her concern lies. And actually, I am surprised that Tracy didn't call Finn. It's weird that she called Alexis instead of Finn, because she can't stand Alexis, and Finn's her best friend, and that's his father. That was another stupid plot point. DG said exactly, Dion. That's why one of Leslie Weber's boyfriends split town back in the 70s. He was diagnosed with a terminal illness and didn't want to be a burden to her. They were about to get engaged. Dr. Joel Stratton. Thank you for that. I love when you talk about history, DG, because there's so much I don't know. Because I can't help it, because I'm 30, 33 almost. But I'm still young, and I don't know any of the stories from, like, the 70s. Gregory and Tracy have a great friendship chemistry for now. Hopefully he'll have Alexis and Tracy's support. I think that he will. I don't know if they're trying to test romantic chemistry for them, but I just don't see the romantic chemistry between them. Let's move on though. Okay, I don't really want to talk about this, but we'll just bring it up because it's short and sweet. Finn and Liz, they had these little weird, cutesy, I guess, moments in the hospital where they were leaving each other notes with Deanna and like, check yes if you want to go on a dinner date and whatever. I still don't know why we're not seeing Liz be like a head nurse and dealing with her staff. That is the story I want to see for Liz. Needless to say, they went on a nice little dinner on the Metrocourt balcony. DG, you said, I do like Tracy and Gregory together. I just wish they had a better storyline than this depressing illness. Finn and Liz yawn. Yeah, that's why I just wanted to get that out of the way. And it is out of the way. That's all that happened with them. Also, Finn was contemplating moving to another hospital because he's so scared of trying again with Liz, which is cheesy as hell. They only had Tracy call Alexis so Alexis can tell him that people can figure it out. Yeah, that's when something is plot driven and not, in the realm of something that makes actual sense. I thought that lame little invite was created by Violet. Not this time. Not this time. The next Lila and Edward, Finn and Liz. No. That check yes or no was so middle school. Exactly. All right. Let's end this because it's getting late, y'all. Let's talk a little bit about Carly and a little bit about Ava and Austin. But first, Carly and Ava. In the previous week, Sunny and Ava had been dealing with the new nanny. Just as a quick reminder, Ava had told Sunny the whole truth about Nicholas, Mason, Austin, the new nanny, the big bad boss, all of it. Sunny wants to use the nanny to lead them to the big bad boss. And instead of sending Avery back with the nanny, Sunny had called Carly over to let Avery have a sleepover with her and Donna, and Carly was suspicious then. This week, she was even more suspicious because Ava came over to just hug Avery, and Carly called her out on knowing something was off and trying to fish out what was going on. Ava mostly kept her cool and didn't spill what was going on, despite Carly kind of figuring out that it had to do with the nanny. Carly even tried asking Sunny about it later on in the week, and he told her that he's handling it without giving her too much details as well. Mostly though, we've seen Carly behind the counters at Kelly's. It's so weird seeing her in like a suit. She's wearing like the same kind of suits that she would wear at the Metrocourt, working behind a diner on a waterfront. You know what I mean? It looks weird. Mind you, like, supposedly Kelly's is getting another makeover soon. They haven't revealed it yet, but Frank Valentini kind of showed a glimpse of like a floor mat in front of Kelly's. So just as a way to say, by the way, Kelly's is getting a makeover. I hope that whatever they do with it, they don't stray too far from the original set, because Kelly's is pretty much the last original set standing that hasn't either disappeared from the show completely or been changed to an unrecognizable state, like, for example, the Q Mansion or the hospital. Kelly's still very much to this day looks like it did in the 80s. It looked a little bit bigger in the 80s, obviously, but it still pretty much looks exactly how it did. But yeah, anyway, as for Ava and Austin, it's interesting to see how Ava is handling herself with Austin. This man who was his supposed, or okay, sorry, I'm messing up my words here. I'm tired. What are y'all saying though? The new nanny and Christina. No thanks. DG, you said I do like Ava and Austin. Roger Howarth isn't exactly handsome enough for Maura West, but they do work well together as partners in crime. In those scenes, Roger again reminds me of Todd Manning. Finn and Liz, one word, friendship. DG, you said, oh my god, yes, they can't completely change the Kelly set. It looks great and brings back the many memories. Yeah, I really don't want them to change it. Yeah, they really changed the Q Mansion and the hospital set. I mean, listen, I don't mind that the hospital got a refresh. It's just that the layout doesn't really make sense. And same with the Q Mansion now, because the stairs went to a completely other opposite area, and the front door is now in a different area too. It makes no sense. Oy. But anyway, so let's talk about Ava and Austin. The man who was supposed to be his patient, or who supposedly was his patient, had turned up dead, no doubt thanks to Mason. And of course, he's being questioned by Chase. And Ava can see Austin kind of sucks at dealing with secrets because he willfully told Chase about how the guy showed up at the restaurant where Ava, Sunny, and Nina all happened to be. And he did claim to Chase that he was his patient, yet Ava snooped around and didn't find a file for him because we know that he was an under-the-table kind of patient sent by his mystery boss. Ava actually admitted that Sunny knows about Nicholas, but she didn't confess to Austin that he revealed the Mason and mystery boss aspect of that conversation. I'm so scared that she's going to, and when she does, he's going to do something like stupid and go warn Mason to warn the boss because he fears this big bad mystery boss so much. And I just do not like it. I do not like it. I just hate how the hospital has no emergency room for one thing. So they do, but they don't utilize it very much. And it still very much looks like the old hospital set. We just very rarely see it. It's actually been years since we've seen it. But it was around even when they rebuilt the hospital. I just don't know where it is at this point. Carly wouldn't make no $5 million on burgers, that's for sure, anytime soon. I also love the nanny from hell. That actress was excellent. I did enjoy her scenes with Ava. They were pretty fun to watch. But I don't think Carly's plan is to just like, make millions from Kelly's, but she has some kind of game plan that probably might have to do with expanding. I don't know. I do not know. But that's all my notes, you guys. That's all I really had to say. When she stopped Ava, I was like, damn, it's on. Yeah, and Ava's scream after that was pretty funny too. Maura West is so freaking good. I adore Maura West. Overall, I've taken a lot of issues with like the amount of like stunt casting Frank Valentini has done, and Maura really was another stunt casting situation. But she's so good. I think that GH struck gold with getting her, and she does a great job with the character. I've only seen little bits and pieces of her former character, which I think her name was Carly, ironically, right? But yeah, I enjoy Maura West a lot. Maybe Carly will turn Kelly's into a chain restaurant. That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. Maybe that is our move, Angel. Did anyone else gag when the nanny slapped Ava? Yeah, it was funny. Maybe Carly is on a payment plan with the SEC. Maybe. I give Frank and Ron props for the Ava character and Maura West. Okay, yeah, her name was Carly. Okay. Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of her as Carly. And, you know, and to me, she was very different from Ava. And I think that she does a fantastic job with the role. And she's very, like, I love her acting style, too. It's very film noir, like, very, like, old school, like, I don't know, she just reminds me of, like, what acting was like in the 60s. Just very, like, quick-witted and, like, very fiery and energetic. And it's a rare sight to see actors bring as much life to a character as Maura's brought for Ava. So I give props to her. Anyway, though, y'all, I think I'm going to end this live stream here. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will be back on Wednesday just to chit-chat about GH. I don't really have a plan to react to any old school stuff at the moment. But we'll talk and we'll catch up and see how we feel about GH this week. Hopefully it'll bring a lot more interesting things than this week did. We talked a lot because a lot happened, but it's just like at the same time nothing really happened. There was just a lot going on, but nothing like big plot wise. Yeah, she does sink her teeth into every scene. Alright, y'all, but thanks so much for tuning in to the live stream. I really appreciate it. If you liked this live stream, please give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next one. See you guys this Wednesday. Mwah! Have a good week, guys. Take care.